Hello, my name is Dorothee Rosen. I'm a goldsmith and now I'm back in my Halifax studio today. And if you follow me, you may have gotten wind of the fact that I was recently in Cape Breton at the Cape Breton Centre for Craft. I was invited to give a workshop on sustainability practices in the jewellery studio. And quite honestly, when they first asked me, I said that I'm still on the path myself. And I realized in preparing for that workshop and giving it last week that I will always be on the path of becoming more sustainable in my jewelry practices. Because sustainability in all fields is one of continuous questioning, continuous learning. And so, yeah, that's just a disclaimer, I suppose. I wanted to tell you I'm going to try to be brief about my journey with sustainability. What happened is that I'd always used only recycled gold. And then I attended a gold conference in New York City where I found out about being, sorry, I got distracted by a comment here. I saw a film called The Shadow of Gold, and I highly recommend you find this. It's available on Prime, I think, and on a bunch of other things. The Shadow of Gold, it looks at, there are various other films as well, but it was this one that kind of jolted me into awake and wanting to make a difference, realizing that I needed to dig deeper and make more of a difference. And part of what I found out there and through my further research since then, that was a number of years ago now, is that, for example, I found out about the Mount Polley Mine disaster in British Columbia, where 10 billion liters of contaminated water flooded into the Fraser River, which is the second largest salmon spawning area in the world. And it devastated the Secwepemc nation's people's livelihood and way of life, for sure. And it was a terrible disaster. And of course, as usual, nobody was accountable. And that mine is about to open again. So things like that, or even here in Nova Scotia, we have still today 69 contaminated old contaminated mine sites. The most contaminated of these lies right between Burnside and North Preston, wouldn't you know it? So gold mining is very problematic, and so even local, you might think, oh, local gold is good. Maybe not so. This is a much bigger topic. I just want to touch a little bit on all of these things. Recycled gold, I used to think recycled gold was great. Then I learned how much conflict gold and human rights abuse gold makes it into, there's several studies done, makes it into the recycled gold supply chain, because recycled gold just means that it's been refined previously, and that's not enough. That could mean that it was at a mine a week ago. So that doesn't mean, we think of recycled gold as like recycling, I don't know, like even pop bottles is not ideal either, but anyways, one can get into hot water with all these things. In any case, I found out that recycled gold is better because it does have a lower carbon footprint, and there's some other things that are good about it for sure, but it's not ideal either. And so this is, on that journey, I found Fairmined Gold, which I'm a big advocate for. You may have heard me harp on about this because I really believe in it. And with Fairmined Gold, it's a small-scale artisanal mining, and the mining communities get a Fairmined premium, which means they get paid more for their gold than they would, and then normal gold, and that gets extracted, and that means that there are better trade relations. They get a minimum payment for the worker. There's safe working conditions. They have safety gear. There's no child labor. There's no human rights abuses. No conflict zones. and they rehabilitate local native ecosystems. And then you can choose to even have Fairmined ecological gold, which is also, Fairmined tries to reduce the use of toxic chemicals as much as possible. But Fairmined ecological gold doesn't use any. So no mercury, no cyanide, and they use a purely mechanical extraction, which is just, that's the cleanest gold I could find. So that is what I made my newest series in. You can find out more about that on my website, either in a link in my bio, or I'll put it in YouTube. I'll put the link there. So that's really cool. And then of course, gemstones. I mean, this is a whole other live I should do about those. In general, it's always good to have really excellent relationships with your tradespeople, with your merchants, which I do, and so you can ask questions. It's very difficult to know origin of most gemstones, but it is possible. And in terms of diamonds, of course, there's always an argument between natural diamonds versus laboratory grown diamonds, which one is more ethical. And there you get into very complicated stuff again, because if a laboratory grown diamond is, where's that grown, what's the energy source, because it takes a tremendous amount of heat and pressure, so lots of energy to grow diamonds. And the natural diamonds, where are they coming from? Obviously, we've heard of blood diamonds. Then the Kimberley process was put in place. We thought that was ethical. Then it turns out that isn't either. Long story. The Canadian diamonds actually fare really, really well, which is why I use certified Canadian diamonds for my natural diamonds. And I like those. I feel good about those. So, there's lots to say. And this is just a tiny portion of the 2.5-hour, 3-hour workshop I gave last week. I wanted to share with you. And I just wanted to mention, too, that part of sustainability is also taking care of yourself and your people. Self-care is part of sustainability too. It needs to be sustainable in terms of using your body. Yes, and then obviously things like chemicals in the studio and things like that. So again, I am still on the learning journey. If you want to share something with me, some tips, please do. We're all in this together, and let's educate each other as much as we can. I'm always looking for more knowledge myself. Thank you for being here today with me. In my messy studio, I'm working today, making more things for the Harmony Arts Festival, which is coming right up. Harmony Arts Festival in West Vancouver. And I'm unfortunately not taking the train this time, but in the future sometime. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Uh-oh, how do I end this? There you go.